Good morning, everyone, and welcome to University Unitarian Church. It's Sunday, December the 19th, and it's delightful to welcome you here, those who are in the chapel with us this morning and participating on the live stream. It's good to be together. My name is Jon Luopa. I'm one of the ministers here with my good colleague Beth Chronister, and getting ready for Christmas. It's a big weekend coming up before us. Just a few announcements before we begin the service. With the Omicron variant making itself known more and more among us, we have decided to temporarily suspend food and beverages in the building beginning today and until further notice. So that means no coffee for us today, but we think it is the right decision to make. That will also impact next Sunday, the 26th, where there will be only one service at 11:15. It's an intergenerational service we had planned on a brunch following, but that has also been canceled. On Thursday evening, we will have our family candlelight service, which has been pre-recorded and will be available only online. And then on Christmas Eve, there will be one service at 9 p.m., both in person and available on the live stream. Nothing Christmas Day, and then next Sunday, one service at 11:15. We still need a few more ushers for Christmas Eve and December 26th. And if you'd like to help us in that way, please call the church office, or you may stop in the office downstairs before you leave this morning. Those who are new to the church and to Unitarian Universalism are invited to an information session downstairs in the Dix room after each service each week. A place for you to ask questions and begin to make some connections here at UUC. Let's begin the service this morning then with our prelude.
I call us to worship this morning with these words from the Reverend Leslie Mills. Each year we come to this, the press of days and months accumulating into the year's completion. Each year the planet tilts all her weary travelers into the dark, shortening days. Each year the heart yearns and questions and sighs and waits. Each year we come to this, the gathering of community, the telling of stories, the rebirth of wonder, the miracle of hope. Across time and space, from wherever you may be, come, let us gather. Welcome to University Unitarian Church. Welcome to worship. It is good to be together on this December morning. Would you please rise now in body or in spirit for our doxology, followed by our opening hymn, People Look East. You know, even as the Sunday worship experience feels very different than what it used to feel like a couple of years ago, I'm really struck this morning by how grateful I am to be in this winter season going towards Christmas and to be able to be together in the same space as well as online. It's really comforting to be in community. I'm finding there was a loneliness last year of Christmas, so it's good to be here together on this day and in this season. At this point, we gratefully receive the morning offering in support of the life, the work, and the ministry of this congregation. As the ushers come forward with the offering baskets, would you please join me in saying the words we say each week? This church is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. When we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it.
I invite you now to join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation as we take a moment to quiet and center ourselves, seeking that which renews us as persons and as a people. We dare to hope for this too much world, and we know not what to pray except to ask for peace in it and justice for its people. We dare to hope for compassion and generosity among as many as will risk their private pursuits to serve the public good of all. And we dare to hope for wisdom to discern the larger good and gladness in seeking and serving it, and the realization that since we are inescapably connected, we are also accountable for the beauty and care of this earthly home we share. We dare to hope for courage enough to take the small daily steps toward fulfilling a grand dream for us all that in so many ways we share with each other. And for ourselves, we ask that in this world, where there are at least two sides to anything, we might find quiet hearts hushed by trust that finally all sides have some truth. And thus, we dare to hope for a sense of liberating proportion in the awareness that therefore all sides are not ours. Guidance in choosing daily which side of what will receive the stubborn ounces of our weight. And we dare to hope for passion to commit those ounces to tip the scales toward justice, and not to be afraid to succeed in full or part or not at all. We dare to hope for humility to engage in the human fray without dehumanizing ourselves or those who disagree with us. And we dare to hope for joy in striving to do the much that depends on each in balance with the ease of confirming the infinitely more that depends on all of us. To these imperfect words, we add the silent intentions of our hearts. May it be so. Amen. We invite you to remain seated for our second hymn, number 225, O Come, Emmanuel.
O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comforts to all exiles here, and to the aching heart bid cheer. Rejoice, rejoice. Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. It's a mysterious carol, isn't it? It's set to an 11th century Gregorian chant. And it's particularly haunting when it's set against the more jubilant songs of Christmas, the jingle bells, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or those sweet songs of the nativity story of O Holy Night. O come, Emmanuel, this hymn is traditionally sung for Advent. And Advent is those 4 weeks that lead up to Christmas, and it's marked as a season of hopeful anticipation and a time for contemplation and for the very lucky chocolate calendars. You might have noticed this morning that the words that we sing here at University Unitarian Church, the words in our gray hymnal, have been changed from the original verses. Our version expands the scope beyond the children of Israel to all people, grounded in the universalist understanding that hope and salvation is for all souls. And so the words and the imagery have changed from the original Latin words, but I believe in many ways the spirit of the carol remains. There is this undercurrent of longing and need within the lyrics. A call for relief from suffering and for the presence of love to come and dwell within. Each verse of the hymn does end in rejoicing, but the joy that is found, the joy that is celebrated, is a complex joy, a joy that emerges from out of the conditions of despair, of captivity and exile, pain and brokenness, greed and war. The name Emmanuel is a gesture to both prophecies in the Hebrew Bible and as a name that was used for Jesus in the Christian scriptures. And the meaning of this name is significant, for the name Emmanuel in Hebrew means God is with us. Come, the song implores. Come into the prison cell, come into the broken soul, come into sadness. Come love, come truth, come hope, come God, and be with us. I have to admit, I haven't given much thought to Advent over the past years. Not being raised Christian, but growing up very much celebrating Christmas, the weeks leading up to December 25th have been defined by those packed schedules, music and lights, and the frantic last-minute gift buying of each year. And so in its own way, it's still very much been a season of anticipation and counting down the days to Christmas, but with an energy that is very distinct from the longing that is expressed in the words of the carol, and the vulnerability of reaching out in faith, not knowing when hope or love might arrive, yet being ready to rejoice all the same. And I find that there's an elegance in focusing on the religious observance and the spiritual practice of waiting and hoping in the quiet and in the long dark nights of winter. And in many ways, being that it's set to just these 4 weeks, it's kind of a practice in controlled waiting. The stress of waiting is easier when there's an end date in mind. And when what you are waiting for is a hoped-for outcome. Waiting in the unknown, waiting for an indeterminate amount of time, for an unpredictable future, on the other hand, can be so hard, excruciating even. At no time in my life was this more real than when I worked as a hospital chaplain. Much of my time sitting in the hospital was being with people as they waited for test results, waited for their bodies to heal, waited for visits from a family member, and sometimes waited for the body to release into the unknown that is death. I would visit rooms, and if the company was welcome and the moment right, I would sit with people and listen to whatever lived inside that waiting. Gratitude, hope, fears, regret, stillness, and even wonder. And then we would pray together for some solace and comfort to companion them within those forced pauses. O come, Emmanuel, come love, come hope, be with us. And truly it was a wonder how often within the uncertainty and the struggle, amidst the beeping machines, the nurses coming in and out, making everything work, and the clock ticking, something holy did feel present. The holy appeared in the people themselves, and in the care that was wrapped around them, and sometimes mysteriously in the room itself without form. Over on-call weekends, I would sleep at the hospital in a small interior room, often with the beeper inches from my face, waiting to be alerted in case a chaplain was needed in the hospital. And these were anxious nights, not knowing when or what was coming, but preparing to be present when the call came. And in that small room with its single bed, nightstand, and lamp, Another chaplain had written a note, words borrowed from the prophet Isaiah. Do not fear, and know that I am with you. I found great solace in those words. Over those long nights of companioning people through confusion and heartbreak. Though I was seriously questioning the possibility or likelihood of a God at that time, there was something fortifying in feeling that I was not alone. That there was some larger love wrapped around the hospital and the people there on those nights when hope was hard to find. The waiting of the Advent season is not the waiting room kind of waiting. It is not passive, but active. It is a spiritual discipline of trusting in the presence of love, hope, and peace in the world, even when you do not feel it yet. Trusting that even in the moments of great despair, beauty and wonder may still emerge, as they have again and again, and that truly these holy gifts are already with us, within us, and wrapped around us. Advent invites us to become watchful and ready to be the bearers and receivers of love. As in the story of the Nativity, as Mary carried in her womb the child who would come to symbolize love and hope for so many, Advent too is pregnant with the possibility that what is holy and good, however you understand that, is present here and now, waiting to emerge once more, even on the longest of nights, maybe particularly then, when the veil is thin and the need is greatest. I close with these words from Christian mystic and artist, Christian Walters Paintner. I've come to realize that the opposite of despair for me is not hope, but precisely this experience of wonder. Wonder that there is anything at all. Wonder that in the presence of so much hardship, there is also so much beauty, so much love. Amen.
That suggests that you see the picture there. This is a photo of my wife, Annie, and our grandson, Wyatt. He's now 15 months old, and this photo was taken early in the summer. When Beth and I were thinking about what we would do today, Beth cleverly said, it's Advent, and maybe we should talk a little bit about what we're waiting for, what we're expecting. And what occurred to me first with that suggestion was this photograph, which is the screen photograph on my phone, so I get to see it every day. It has two levels of meaning for me, though. One is the literal, real meaning, that this is my wife and this is our grandson and all of the joy and expectation and happiness that goes with that. But also, it's an image that is very widespread at this time of the year, the mother and the child. And in that symbolic sense, I would say that this is my Madonna. In Italian, Madonna means my lady, and the Holy Child. Many levels of appreciation for this. On the first level, on the real level, important because we almost lost him last winter. And after 4 months of really torment, everything got resolved, and everything is fine now. And we're all happy and at home. So our hearts are certainly filled with gratitude for the resolution of that difficult period. On the more symbolic level, though, I think that a child is really a symbol, an ancient symbol in all cultures that points both backward and forward. The child points backward to our initial helplessness and dependence. We are born absolutely helpless and dependent and could not live without the care of other people. Of all living species, the human species has the longest period of time before the young can take care of themselves. But a child points back to that womb-like nature, that early innocence, that vulnerability. But the child also points forward to the life that is before the child and those around him or her or them. So the child is a promise in a way, and is a bearer of hope, and is long awaited. I think this is what makes the Christmas season so magical and wonderful. It's really about children, about a child in particular, and whether that's far away in the past or present, that really depends on you. Life begins totally dependent upon the nurturing relatedness all around it. And its happiness will depend on the quality of that relationships that sustain that child. And pointing forward towards growth, towards identity and selfhood, hopefully without losing an awareness of interdependence, the fact that it could not even be without other people, and that could not even survive or grow without other things, other people. And so the journey is always a journey from birth to interdependence. I don't like to think of birth to independence. There's a lot of mischief in that trajectory. But from birth to interdependence, and that is something I think that we have greatly lost in our culture. In its journey from birth to maturity, the child symbolizes always the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. We are full of hope and expectation, but we don't know what life is going to bring for this child and for those who love that child. And what does the child need on this journey as it emerges from its origins and enters into the unknowns? The child needs primarily to be held, to be comforted, to be protected and helped. And it's not only in childhood and infancy when we need this. We actually need it all our lives, so that the child can learn on its own to trust the unknowns that it will face. And I think the child's ability to do so is directly correlated to the kind of care it had in its infancy and in its youngest years. There's a lot of anxiety around all of us today. Some are more anxious than others about our own personal situations, about what is happening in the world. And I think that the depth of our anxiety is derived from the dearth of nurture and care. Those who were truly loved and held and protected and cared for are more confident with the unknown before us. And those whose origins included a lack of that kind of care are the most anxious people around us, you see. Annie and I have the privilege of taking care of Wyatt twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. We are grateful that we do it as a team. As we say, there's a reason you have kids in your 20s and not in your 60s, because by the end of the day, we need a long nap, believe me. And we also have to squeeze in a little bit of work from home on each of those days as well. But we love to sing together and play the piano and have lots of tapes. And just about a week ago, we were singing to him. Annie had her phone with the little kitty songs on it, and I was holding Wyatt in my lap. He was sitting on my left leg, and with my right hand, I was keeping the rhythm of the music and being a little crazy, moving and dancing with him and smiling at him. And at one point, he just leaned his head on my shoulder, on this side, where I had a heart attack 11 years ago. But now my heart is healed. What do I wait for? What do I hope for? That more and more of us learn how to lean into each other, cheek to cheek, and to call the connection blessed. That's the Christmas miracle. Amen. Our closing hymn this morning is hymn number 239, Go Tell It on the Mountain.
Together. We do it every week, and it is a gift and a joy. Thank you. So this past week, we lost an incredible force for love and liberation in the world, Bell Hooks. And so I close with her words. Love redeems. Despite all the lovelessness that surrounds us, nothing has been able to block our longing for love, the intensity of our yearning. The understanding that love redeems appears to be a resilient aspect of the heart's knowledge. The healing power of redemptive love lures us and calls us toward the possibility of healing. We cannot account for the presence of the heart's knowledge. Like all great mysteries, we are mysteriously called to love, no matter the conditions of our lives, the degree of our depravity or despair. And the persistence of this call to love gives us reason to hope. And without hope, we cannot return to love.